And honestly, after this whole conversation that we've been having for the past 24 hours about tricking, I can't stress the importance of just making sure as a woman that you have your own everything. Okay? Have your own car, have your own money, have your own job, have your own roof over your head. Just have everything taken care of, because unfortunately these men nowadays believe that everything and anything is tricking. Okay? And I can't stress it enough. As a woman, having your own, it's going to feel better anyway. Okay, because when you give a man the power to feed you, you give him the power to starve you. And I just can't take it. Okay, I can't take it. The men, they think everything is tricking. They think anytime that they have to do anything for us is tricking. So as a woman, just make sure that you have your own, because I'll be damned if y'all out here really depending on a man to buy y'all a meal, or depending on a man to pick y'all up and take y'all to work and take y'all home, and depending on a man to put a roof over your head, and now you gotta wait for him to come open the door because you don't got a key. Like, I can't have that for our women. And you know what I love? That it's not too many women that's in that boat, because nowadays, I ain't gonna lie, women, we the niggas with money, and we been that, dang yeah. And there are men out there, good ones, that you don't got to worry about shit. You don't even got to ask. The shit is already done. But regardless, always have your own, baby. Always.
A man is not a financial plan. Money first, men second. Men will always be there, I promise. Get your degree, build your career, build your savings, start investing, build that company. The women that I know that are in the happiest relationships, myself included, the reason why we're happy is because we've chosen our partner. We didn't have to settle for them, because our livelihood didn't depend on it. Do I think a man should provide for you? Absolutely. But what someone else brings to the table should not be the only thing that you have to eat. Because if you give someone the power to feed you, you also give them the power to starve you. And people understand this when it comes to employment. If you are working a 9 to 5 and this is your only source of income, and your boss asks something of you that you're not comfortable with, you might not want to say no because you don't want to get fired. The same thing can happen in a romantic relationship. Power is one hell of a drug, and you have no idea how a person is going to act when they truly believe that you will never walk away because you are dependent on them. And too often I have seen women have to settle for circumstances that they wouldn't wish upon their worst enemy because they didn't have the financial means to leave. There is so much disrespect and abuse that can be avoided if you just make your own money. She's 30 and single. What does that make her? Educated.
This is one of those big sis, little sis talks, so come on in. Come on in. It's amazing to have a partner that provides for you and takes care of things. That's a beautiful blessing. But there is nothing wrong with having your own income, your own thing going on. It's about more than money. It's about having options, independence, and the freedom to create something that's yours. For me, I have learned not to put all my eggs in one basket. We never know what life may throw at us, and having your own income means that you have security, you have a backup plan, and the ability to do things on your own terms. It also gives you the confidence knowing that you can stand on your own if you need to. You're not just dependent on one thing or one person. So if you've been thinking about starting something for yourself, whether it's a business, a side hustle, or simply just investing in your own growth, do it. Do not wait. Don't hold back because you're afraid or uncertain. You owe it to yourself to have that freedom and flexibility to feel empowered. It's okay for you to have both, a life where you're provided for and a life where you're building something for yourself. Don't ever be afraid to claim that.
You know what's funny? People spend hours planning their dream wedding, but almost no time planning their financial future. Think about that for a second. We insure our phones, we back up our photos, but somehow expect love alone to be our backup plan. Here's the truth. Building your own money isn't about expecting a relationship to fail. It's about making sure you never fail yourself.
Dating should never be your rescue plan. It should complement the life you're already building. And honestly, sometimes your dating life will expose your money mindset before your bank account will, because when you are financially grounded, you date out of standards, not from survival. When dating becomes a rescue plan, you start making emotional financial decisions. You will overlook red flags. You will prioritize lifestyle over real alignment. You will confuse security with dependency. And I'm not saying don't date. I'm not saying not to want love or to want partnership. But what I am saying is to build a life of quality first. When your financial stability, your lifestyle, lifestyle, your sense of security depends entirely on a relationship, you just give away your power before you even realize it. And as someone who works in finance, I see this all the time. The women who move differently, the women who move from confidence, the women who date from confidence, they pursue themselves first. They have a life, they have skills, their money is in order, they have structure, they have built a life of independence. So when they date, it's from a place of desire, from intention, not desperation or survival. This is not about being cheap, scared of money, or hyper independent. Luxury and responsibility can absolutely coexist. You can want nice things, you can want the soft life, you can have high standards, but you need a foundation that you can control. Financial independence isn't anti-love, it's freedom. It means you choose people because they can add to your life, not because you need them to carry it. So pursue yourself with the same energy people chase relationships. Dating should complement the life you're building, not replace it. And a rich life starts with becoming the woman who can carry her own emotionally, mentally, and financially.
You always have to have your own stuff as well. If whatever he was giving you, even if you do work and you don't have to spend money on bills, you should be investing that money into yourself, not spending it all. Because it seems to me that when ladies find a provider, they forget to also think about themselves. Remember, you are a priority to yourself, and you can't let those things happen. Okay, you gotta go start saving money, man. Start saving your money. You always need a savings.
Why financial independence is the ultimate form of self-love. We talk a lot about self-love, protecting your peace, setting boundaries, taking care of yourself, but we rarely talk about financial independence as an act of self-love. Because here's the truth, self-love isn't just all affirmations and bubble baths. It's about being able to choose yourself even when life gets hard. Financial independence means you don't have to stay in a job, a relationship, or a situation that drains you. It means your decisions come from wanting to, not needing to. When you save, invest, and build wealth, you're not just managing money, you're building a safety net for your future self. That's what real self-love looks like. Peace of mind, freedom, and the power to walk away when something no longer feels right.
I think it's so important to be financially independent when you're in a relationship, because I'm not saying everyone is like this, but in some relationships, some people try to financially control another person, and that's not great. It may seem great, like, oh, I'm gonna take care of you and all this stuff, but then it comes with a lot of costs, which it shouldn't, and that's not good. So I think it's good to be able to, if something happens, you can handle the situation and still feel confident in yourself. I mean, guys, it's only like since 1974 that women could get a bank account or a credit card without, discrimination. So it hasn't been that long, and it's so important to be financially aware. Bye, guys.
My stance on dating when you're not financially stable has remained the same over the years. If you're not financially stable, you should not be focusing on dating. You should be focusing on getting your money up. You should be focusing on your career. You should be focusing on savings. If you can't make ends meet, that should be your priority. And that's always been my mindset. Like, if you can't take care of you or you can't take care of your child, there is no reason for you to be using any extra time to be outside. Men or women, this is to all of us. We need to focus on ourselves and getting ourselves whole before we can date other people, right? And randomly I started thinking this morning, like, I kind of feel bad. Like, I know people who are not financially stable, and I of course want them to feel love and like connection. But sometimes people just, they just hyper focus on the love and the connection, and they're not focusing on bettering themselves. And you need to better yourself first. Like, put all that energy into your job and into your savings and your goals before you're spending your life with somebody. And that's just something I've always thought. But I do believe, obviously, you should have love. It's just, it's better to be stable, so focus.
When you have your own income, your own savings, your own goals, you don't stay because you're trapped. You stay because you genuinely want to. And trust me, those are two completely different relationships. I always laugh when people say, love is all you need. Really? Try paying the electric bill with hugs. Last time I checked, the landlord doesn't accept romance as a payment method. Financial independence isn't about proving you don't need someone.
Good morning, guys. I want to leave out with this message because this is what I know as I'm in my self-discovery period, as I'm just analyzing just things that have gone on. Women, if I could give any of my young girls any advice, because a lot of times we don't give them the advice that they need, and this is the advice that you need. Go after your education and your money first. And the reason that I say that is because once you do that, you will not crave these inepid relationships with these creatures, these men. You have success and finances first, you won't be craving the need for another counterpart to balance out the things that you lack. And I say that because inherently we all want love, but the difference is we accept a different kind of love when we are financially stable than we do when we're not financially stable. And anybody that disagrees with that has never lived below the poverty line. So that's why you'll see in our urban communities, dad cheats on mom 600 times and has 6 babies outside of the relationship, and he's never married mom, but mom keeps taking him back because mom is like, how the fuck is this rent gonna get paid? And because mom is so emotionally exhausted from having to carry the weight of no emotional outlet in a home where you can't speak about your emotional needs, because a lot of times in the black community, black men feel like if they pay the bills, they've done the most. Okay. And so your emotions no longer matter. A black man feels like if he pays the bills, your feelings do not matter. And so I say that to you as a black woman, please, if I could, and white, brown, green, whoever you are, please make sure that you get your education. Please make sure that you have your money. That is number one. A man cannot fuck with you the same way when you have your money. He cannot fuck with you the same way. When it's time for you to get up and go, that's why I always tell my girls, make sure you have your own shit. And that's something that I maintain in every relationship. I may not always make the best decisions when it comes to relationships, but one thing that I do is I always have my own shit. So if something goes left, like for instance, I had a boyfriend that lived down here in Irvington, I want to say 8 years ago, 9 years ago. No, probably longer than that now because my son is not. So I want to say maybe 12 years ago. I had my own apartment in Bud Lake. I paid the rent and I still stayed at his house, but I always paid my rent. So if shit ever hit the fan or ever felt like I needed a break, I could just go home. I had my own car. If shit ever went left, I could get in my shit and go. Okay, that if I could teach you ladies anything, that this is the most imperative thing that I could teach you, is to have your own fucking shit. Okay, no matter what. I don't care what that man tells you. Oh, he's giving you money on the side. You better make sure you're tucking some of that. Tuck that shit. But the best advice that I could give any of y'all, realistically, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to tell you some real shit. The best advice that I have for you, the best advice, before you start dating, just make sure that you're financially stable. Make sure you're financially good. Nothing else matters outside of that, all right? You won't have that overwhelming feeling, I need to have... No. You won't care.
The women who scare people the most are the most financially independent ones. Because financially independent women cannot be controlled through fear. A woman with financial literacy asks different questions, moves differently, negotiates differently, leaves differently. And honestly, lots of women were conditioned to romanticize struggle. Meanwhile, the woman who is building assets, learning investing, protecting their income, and creating ownership is called intimidating, interesting. When a man pursues power and wealth, it's seen as ambition. When women do it, suddenly it's threatening. I want women to understand money deeply enough so they don't have to abandon themselves for security.
A man is not a financial plan, and you may not want to hear this, but you have to. Actually, before I get started, if you're a man who's watching this, please just keep scrolling. We don't need you in women's business right now. Oh, wait. Okay, perfect. Let's talk about how women who leave finances to their partner may be one bad situation away from having to completely start over on this episode of Slow Money, where I teach people with normal jobs who make a normal amount of money how to build wealth slowly and sustainably. Now listen, I'm not wishing anything bad on your relationship. I genuinely hope you have a long, happy, healthy partnership. However, I need you to be prepared because the reality of life is shit happens. Please don't make love make you forget to do your homework. Divorce is a leading cause of financial devastation for women. And so is losing a partner unexpectedly due to illness. My grandmother lost my grandfather unexpectedly and had no idea how to keep her life running. Mortgage, bills, accounts, she didn't know how to manage any of it. And to make things worse, she had to figure all of that out in the middle of her grief. It was absolutely devastating, and I would not wish that on anyone. And if you have children, this is even more critical because it's not just your survival on the line. So here are 4 checklist items for you to be on top of your game. Number 1 is know your numbers. Every account, every bill, every subscription, and make sure you know the login information for each of those accounts. Number 2 is know your credit and own your assets. Know your credit score, your credit history, and make sure your name is on things like the house and the car. Let me repeat myself because this is very important. Make sure you have credit and assets in your name. If your name isn't on it, legally, it may not be yours. 3, have your own bank account. Not joint, just yours. It should be an emergency fund that no one else can access. Caribbean or African women may call this Vex money. And number 4 is know your retirement details and your mortgage or lease. What's in it, where it is, what you owe, who to call. These are 2 of the biggest financial pillars of your life, and you need to know the basics. Because no one really taught us that depending on someone else's presence to fund our future is one of the riskiest things that we can do as women. So today's slow money lesson is every woman needs to know where the money is, how to access it, and have some that is entirely her own. Follow me for more finance content for people with normal jobs who make a normal amount of money.
I talk to women a lot about financial autonomy. Even if you're in a partnership, have your own bank account, do your own bills, write your own checks. When my parents separated, my mother did not know how to provide for my brother and I financially, and it was a huge adjustment. And I saw that and I thought, I will never be reliant upon someone else to provide for me. That's why I talk to women a lot about financial autonomy and how important it is. Even if you're in a partnership, like have your own bank account, do your own bills, write your own checks, be financially literate so that you can make the choices you want in your life. You can have the freedom to say, I don't have to stay here because I can afford to leave. And I think that is one of the greatest freedoms. And I saw that early on. I was like, I must have that.
Never put yourself in a position where you are financially dependent on a man. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you've got 10 kids together. Always have your own money. Men, before you get angry, this is something that your sisters should do. This is something that your mothers should do. This is something that your kids should do. Always have a secret account on the side with your own funds. Hey, if your husband knows about it or not, it doesn't matter. But it's you protecting yourself at the end of the day because you don't know if shit's going to hit the fan. You don't know at what point what's going to happen and you're going to have to get up and pack your bags and leave. It's not a nice thought to think, oh, you know what, I'm going to need to save money just in case. But it's 2024 and there's crazy shit happening out there. So you should always have your own money on the side just to protect yourself.
So this might be a bit controversial because I'm sure many people will disagree with me, but coming from a family law attorney of over 6 years and someone who was raised by a single mom who, went through several different relationships during my childhood, I have a very, very strong opinion that you should never ever rely on someone else 100% financially. And there's many different reasons for this, but I've had so many different women come to me and not know what their next steps are and really struggle through next steps of life after separating from their spouse and not knowing what to do because they have a huge gap in their resume because they decided to stay at home and they had the finances to do so, and their husband kind of paid for everything and did everything, and that's fine, but they're now in a position of not knowing what to do and really struggling to get back out in the workforce and it being very difficult for them. Not to mention other things could happen as well, like something tragic could happen to your spouse. They could be paralyzed, they could die. I mean, no one wants that, right? But like these things could happen. So I would recommend to never fully rely on somebody else financially. And that's not to say that like you shouldn't be a stay-at-home mom if that's what you want to do, or that's just to say don't leave a huge gap in your resume. So for example, if let's say you're a teacher now and then you and your husband or you and your spouse decide to get married and have children and you both agree that you would stay home with the kids, that's fine.
do that. I mean, I commend that. I would love to be able to do that for my son. But that's not the position I'm in, and that's fine. But if you have the ability to do that, that's great. But say, for example, as a teacher, you still need to like keep those contacts. So be a substitute. Tutor children on the side. There are online programs where you can tutor children through Zoom. Like, stay active so that you don't have a 5 to 10 year gap in your resume in the event anything were to happen. Say you're somebody that doesn't have a career path and you went straight from, high school or wherever and just straight into motherhood. That's also great. But guess what? You probably have a lot of great knowledge of being a mom or a home caretaker. Document those things, post them online, start creating content, show us the tips and tricks you have for certain things in motherhood or certain things in keeping your house clean or your house put together or cooking or literally whatever you find to be interesting. Put it online. People love to hear it. People want to know, right? Like, start doing something so that you constantly have some sort of an avenue or a path that you could go down in the event anything were to happen. So again, I'm not saying you can't be a stay-at-home mom. I'm not saying you can't be a home caretaker or anything along those lines. You can, but don't 100% give yourself up financially, because that can genuinely be devastating in the long run if anything were to happen. And let me tell you right now, you might be sitting here thinking, yeah, I mean, but I'm not going to get a divorce, so it won't matter. Nobody coming to me for a divorce got married thinking that they would get a divorce. That's just not how life works. Things happen that are unexpected. And in my opinion, you should just always have something that's just for you financially if you can.
I'm going to say this. Ladies, stop coming to the party empty purse and your hand out. Stop. I get it. I want him to do for me. That's cool. There's nothing wrong with your mate affording you a soft life or a spoiled life. But in some cases, you're setting yourself up to be controlled. So, moral of the story, have your own money, have your own future, and you have your own career. Remember, you're single, not stupid.
Sadly, this might be a hot take, but relying on a man financially is one of the riskiest decisions a woman can make. Financial autonomy in a relationship should be a non-negotiable, and this has nothing to do with trusting your partner. It's literally just about understanding how the world works. A lot of women say, well, my husband would never leave me. That is amazing, but what if he dies? What if he gets a terminal illness? What if he gets disabled? Something completely out of your control. Now what? We've watched this play out in real time and time again with women who put themselves in these vulnerable situations. We could literally look at Real Housewives for an example. We could look at Erica, Sonia, Dorit, Teresa. These women were living lavish lives, mansions, private jets, Kelly bags, and then the relationship changed, and so did their entire life. But these women had TV shows, brand deals, public platforms to fall back on. The average woman does not. All of this to say, when I see women online glamorizing relying on a man financially or not having to work, I know that they have not taken the time to truly sit down and think long-term or downside protect themselves. It is not about independence just for the sake of independence. It's about security. It is about building wealth of your own that you can be so proud of and take pride in. And it's about having options. It's about knowing at the end of the day, no matter what happens, you will be okay and you can maintain your lifestyle. You don't need to be the breadwinner. You don't need to do it alone. It doesn't mean that a man can't spoil you and take care of you and supplement your life, but you do owe it to yourself to be able to provide an incredible lifestyle on your own. That is the most freeing feeling as a woman. The absolute most powerful position you can be in as a woman is getting to choose your life and not depending on it.
It's important to make your own money before getting married. It's important to have your own assets before getting married. It's important that you learn how to manage money before getting married. I know that we all want to marry rich, wealthy men, but rich, wealthy men don't automatically translate to rich, wealthy wives. You might think that you're rich and wealthy because you're married to one, even if you don't have that money for yourself. But if assets are not in your name, if you don't have cash in your account, you don't have investments in your name, baby, that man is rich and wealthy. You are not. It's important for me before I got married to buy my own property, to be in a good job, earning good salary, have investments in my name, have like a stock portfolio. And when I was coming together with my husband, those were the questions I asked him. What are you bringing to the table? This is what I have. Then coming together to build on top of that. Now we're in our second property that we both now jointly own, but I had my own property coming into the marriage, and that was important for me to do, and for me to just have a level of financial stability for myself, independent of him. And so that's what I wish more women knew. Make your own money and then go marry that rich, wealthy man, because you are also a rich, wealthy woman.
It's about making sure no one can control your choices. That's real confidence. That's real peace. So invest in yourself first. Learn new skills. Build your career. Save. Invest. Create opportunities your future self will thank you for. Because the strongest relationships aren't built on dependency. They're built on two people who could stand alone, but choose to stand together. Now, that's not just financial freedom. That's emotional freedom too.